Right, before I quickly go for lunch, so I've trimmed that down, cut the stick down. I quickly knocked it down a little bit, cut a length off. So I'm going to quickly glue this in there and go have some lunch. Give that time to cure off over lunch, and then I'll get a rough idea, put it and drill a hole right through this, and see how that goes. I think that might be the easiest way to do it, and if I use that some of that construction adhesive, it'll, in theory, it should bind itself to that wood and paint and whatever and ooze out into there, and hopefully that shouldn't, it's pretty tight in there actually anyway, but that'll stop it from possibly coming out, if you know what I mean. But once it's screwed down, and it's got the little piece on it and whatever, that'll help hold it, but I'm just thinking of just, you know, just stop it from coming out when I don't want it to. So I'll bang a little bit of glue in there. Actually, let's see like this. I'm not going to be doing this one, I'm doing the other ones, but bang a little bit. Won't need much. Let's go get another tube. Push it down a little bit because that stuff expands, so, and then I can just buzz it off on the back, if you know what I mean. But we'll try that. We'll give that a crack, see what that happens there. That's glued in there, so yeah, we'll just see how that sort of works. It's otherwise I'm going to spend hours and hours and hours and hours trying to get them to fit, and I think it's just, you know, a complete waste of time if that'll work. So we'll find out later, I guess. Might find a new nail from there. I'm pretty glued up. Okay, small. Very nice. Anyway, alright, let's see if this glue stuck this stupid thing, and then we'll drill a hole in it. I'm just going to pry it off there. Now it's going to take some moving. That's cool. Right, we'll draw, punch a hole through there, roughly. Using my Marko. Like a rough idea where the holes, where to put a hole. Freaking easy. You ever find anything around here? Anyway, we'll just go for it. So somewhere about there will do fine. knock that back with the Rolex, just so it's reasonably flush. Really neat fit, which is quite handy. So it just sticks through there, about that far, which is about where I want it. I don't want too much to flare out, if you know what I mean. So, use my tool. Yeah. I might just go get that wee club hammer. Works. So I thought I made a piece to stick underneath there. Maybe I didn't. Oh, I did. Maybe I didn't. Let's give this a whack. Well, that didn't work, did it? It needs to be. So I might just go give it a wee press, because it tried to push back that way into the wood. Might take that and press. See if that'll work. Bit awkward, but for 8 things it's not too bad. I'll come back and show you if it were how it worked. Alrighty, so I think that's going to work perfectly. I screwed that up a little bit for a start off when I tried to hit it. Like maybe if I'd done it over steel it mightn't have been so bad, but I think with that pushed up against there and then used that with the press, I lifted it all up, so I've only got to like go up and down, you know, about an inch to do each one. I think if I'd done that before I'd hit it with the hammer, that would end up like bloody near spot on. It's really good on that side. So I think that's about as good as you're going to get to try and replicate. Where's that other? Here's that good one. I'll find it. I wouldn't say a good one, but the sample I'm working off. So, yeah, it does go right at the edges, but you know, like if you compare night to night, like it's not far off, you know. And if we don't hit it with a hammer for a start off, I think we'll end up with a bloody near spot on result, if you know what I mean. And then I can just flatten these or just roll these edges over. So I think that's probably the easiest way to do it. I actually wonder if I should just glue all these pieces in now. Spray a bit of weld through on the inside, glue these pieces in, and then when we do all the paint work, we don't have to worry about that. I won't put those in until afterwards. But the only other thing, only other piece we're going to do then is the little piece for in here. Glue that in with a bit of wood glue and a wood glue sawdust mix. I think that's how I'll put them in there, and then dimple them so the wood glue or sawdust will fill up the gaps that the bits of timber don't fill up, if you know what I mean. So with the gaps with a wee bit of wood glue in there and a heap of sawdust and make a paste, if we can get a good consistency, and a little frickin', we'll get a little bottle or something like even the end of a spray can or something, mix up a bit of a frickin' concoction on one of them and smear it in around there and push them in and just tape up all the shit that you don't want covered in glue. When it's dry, then just pull the tape off, it should be bloody spot on once it's all painted and shit. I think that's probably the best way to do it. So I'll call that I think that's the way to do it. I think that's what I'll do. I'll make these and I'll blow some weld through on the inside before I glue these pieces in, so it's not wood to be steel. And that'll work perfect. Yeah, I'm going to do that. Not done yet? No. Okay, supposed to be do it then. Right, so I got that re-welded up. So I've got that to clean up. It's warm. I welded around the corners too. We've got to clean up and then we'll get that scuffed and spray some shit on the inside. Now I ended up just putting etch on the inside of the other ones on. So what am I doing? I don't really need to put weld through in there. No, etch will be fine. That'll be still better than nothing. And by the time we put the other paint in there, like when we paint on both sides and whatever, like I'll put a coat of primer in there, you know what I mean? Like I'll just give it a one flick on that side, give it a half decent coat, so that'll go in around the wood, and then by the time we put a couple of coats of colour on there as well, it'll seal up around there, so it should be pretty good. It's not as though it's going to be running around in the rain and the weather too much, if you know what I mean. Like it'll be another freaking 100 years before it's done again. Well, it's not as though it's a new car and out every day. It's, stuff like this, as long as it's done properly, it'll be still like this in another 50 years, It might just need another coat of paint. That one dry, and we'll get these other pieces of wood trimmed up and glued in there. And I'll talk to Marko for a minute. Right, I'll go quickly cut these 4 bits off here and we'll glue them in there. Well, so like I said, the only reason I'm doing that is because I'm going to spend hours trying to get pieces like this to fit, because I can't come in from that end because it's welded on, caps welded on. So I'd have a fight trying to get that up there because they're not all exactly perfectly the same. So bring these all in there and I'll clamp them together. And later on I'll just whatever's sticking up, we'll just sand off. Probably shouldn't have that on the hole, should I? Might do what's out there. So yeah, we'll let them glue. But both lots are done. Here's the other lot. So they're all good. Yeah, I've just done them a couple of minutes ago before I turned the camera on. We'll let the end glue up. And yeah, like the only thing really got to do is fit these in once they're all painted and ready to go, if you know what I mean. So that's cool. And the only other thing I just thought of is I really need to go and get these nickel plated, because they're nickeled. I completely forgot about that, because when I was cleaning these up I took the copper off, but you can actually see that these have been, you can see that they're not copper finish on that side, if you know what I mean. You can see a little bit of the nickel left. So I actually need to get these nickeled. Or see if we can get like a little nickel plating kit and nickel in their cells or something. Yeah, I forgot about that. Should have another spare on here something. So yeah, I need to get them nickeled. I only need the 8, so I'll just get all 9 nickeled on me. Yeah, bit of an awkward, because I can't put them in until after they're all finished, but they need to be nickeled to go in. I can test fit them to make sure they're going to have enough clearance, obviously, to slip through. I actually just realised I've still got to drill the holes in the body on the other side, on the passenger side of the vehicle. But that's right, I've still got to, once they're finished gluing later, I'll drill the holes out. So yeah, I think that's all going to work quite nicely. It's not exactly how they did it, but nobody's going to see it. Nobody's going to see it. So that'll probably do for that now, because I can't do a lot else with these other things. I've got to trim up the ends on the other long ones to be a bit more like that curve, but again I can't do that. So what I might do now is strip that dash front again, take all the rust converter primer stuff off it, and clean it up and then etch it, because I'm very dubious that rust converter primer stuff. It works good for treating the rust, but it's, like I said, I've put primer and stuff over it before and had the primer lift or body fluid lift off it. It just hasn't stuck. So yeah, I'll just Scotch Brite it off and whatever roll locks it, and then re-etch it, and it should be fine. Road. These are the road. These on. These. Open there. And we'll bring the dash back here. It's nice having this piece of wood on here. Don't lose shit down the friggin' holes. I'll eventually find a piece that's bigger. We'll go get that dash. We'll get that cleaned up. Yeah. Righty, so I think in the last clip I was cleaning this up to itch it, and I itched both sides. So I got that done. And I've done all the small pieces, all these other pieces, well kind of, you know what I mean. So I've done all the ones for this side, both sides. And I'm just actually trimming this one, in the midst of trimming this. Because I put this on just to make sure it cleared, because I thought it might have been a bit close, and it is, because now I've got the holes in here. I'm kind of committed to this position, so just got to clearance out a little bit more. It's not bad, but I just put a marker around there, and I'll just take off the black, and that should be perfect. Well, yeah, it'll be right for what we need to do. And I've etched all these other pieces. I've etched these on the inside. I've got these prepped for obviously putting the etch on the outside. But I want to obviously get these clamped and screwed in position, and then I can drill the holes in these doors for those. But because I've got this on, I can actually position these with a nice bit of clearance around there for this. And I was going before, I was like, man, why does that stick out so much? But then it dawned on me, you got the post here. I was like, that's weird, why does it stick out so much? But yeah. So yeah, I'll do these in the morning. I'll clamp these in position and probably put a couple of screws in so these can't move, and I'll drill the holes down through here, and obviously use all these other bits to help space everything, get everything right. And then I might, because some of these don't sit 100% level through there, I've noticed that this door here, not that I really want to be doing this, but I'm going to, I'm going to take a little bit of, I'm just going to try and knock the edge off this a little bit, carefully. I'm going to put another couple of layers of tape on here. Not that it matters, as long as I don't freaking go here, but I can just touch it up. But I just want to knock a little bit of paint, a little bit of wood off the top of this, just to bring this level down on this outside, on the inside edge, so this sits a bit squarer compared with the rest, if you know what I mean, just so it drops down a little bit. And then I want to try and kick this one up a little bit, so I'm going to put a little bit of filler on the top of this door, just to, probably just this end, just to try and level them up, because I know they're not dead perfect, but I just want to get a little bit closer if I can, and a little bit of something underneath that. isn't going to hurt if I just make a wee slither and just glue it on the top there and just tape all this up and just glue it on there. Like, once it's all pulsed and everything and whatever, it doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't matter if there's no paint on there. I can mask it out and just put a little bit of, even if it's just, I can put a little bit of something on that wood, doesn't really matter, just to seal it up. But I just like to try and get them sitting a little bit leveler, and the same on the other side if I need to, where I need to, just so it doesn't look too up and down and disjointed, if you know what I mean. Try and improve things the best I can, because everything just keeps moving on me, so I'm just trying to make it as good as I can. So yeah, I took the front bump stops back out of those door posts and I nipped them down a little bit more on that edge, so the door didn't hit them so much. They were still just stopping the door a little bit. Like if you pushed it closed, a little bit of force, it was all right. But so I just knocked them down quite, almost pretty close to the edge of here, if you know what I mean. If I put solder, hold on, turn the camera bloody around, eh? So if I put this old hard one here, yeah, like I had it probably down about that level or a little bit less, you know, it was pretty close to here. It was up a little bit, but hardly anything when it was all squashed up. I try to make it as little as possible. Like the bump stop is working really on this surface when the door comes up to meet it, but when the inside part of it comes past it, you know, I was trying to stop it from, a little bit of brushing is not going to hurt, just rub past it, but it was come up and sort of pushing past it and then squashing it in, if you know what I mean. So I was just trying to fix that a little bit. So I've done a few little bits and pieces like that and just screwed around and got things a bit more cleaned up. So I've got those other two old ones of those for samples, so I'm going to strip that back tomorrow too. I was going to leave it on there, but I thought, nah, I'll just strip it off. I've got those other pieces for a close enough sample to give me an idea of the colours more than anything. So I'll get that stripped down, get that cleaned up, get that on there too. And then I think either a wee bit more of a hunt around. Obviously got to get those holes in the doors and tomorrow. Get them all screwed on, get them fitting, get all that stuff sorted, and then I can probably get all that stuff primed at least, and do a light coat on the inside of everything, just like maybe a couple of lightish ones or a bit of a heavy one, you know, maybe just a double wet, if you know what I mean, for a start off without letting it dry too much, and then flip it over and we'll just put a heap on the outside, you know, 5 sort of coats, just to, so I've got enough material on there so I can make them nice and smooth without trying to hide any little, or the worst imperfections, if you know what I mean. By the time I wood grain them and all that sort of stuff, that'll hide a bit too. It's not going to be a sort of a, and they're going to be satin, so it's not going to be really, it's not going to stick out too much, but I want to try and get as nice a surface on there as possible. So I want to get all those pieces that I want to wood grain, including the dash. What's today? Wednesday, I think. Maybe all in primer and fully primed by Friday sort of type thing, if I can. I'll jump around with other stuff as well, because I want to, with the seat pieces I want to prime, and if I can get a couple other little bits and pieces that maybe need primer on them as well, that I haven't quite got to yet, I'll have to have a hunt around, just see if there's any other little bits and pieces that are worth priming as well at the same time. Because I'm sort of running out of slightly bigger bits that doesn't really mean. Only other thing that really needs done, I think, is that spear wheel carrier, but I need to straighten that. Yeah, I need to straighten that. And after that, I'm not really quite sure what else needs attention after that. Probably just a matter of figuring out the next little bits, and hopefully get some of these other freaking parts back. Pain in the ass, I want some parts back so I can try and start piecing this thing together, and then I can actually do finishing stuff, you know what I mean? So I've got to find those lights. Probably can't get out and clean them up. I've got a steering wheel, a fan, you do. There's lots of little pieces yet, but yes, matter of freaking working them all out at the time. I've got a handbrake lever, I can probably do that. What else? Yeah, it doesn't matter, there's lots of other little bits I need to go through, but those sort of things that I want a proper primer on. Right, yeah, that's where we're at. That'll do for today, I think, and we'll attack it again tomorrow. And that sun is just starting to pour through that freaking skylight there now. So anyway, we'll catch you later on. Possibly at the end of this video, I don't know, I'll just freaking manage to keep ahead of this stuff a bit. But anyway, thanks for watching. Please like, share and subscribe, and hit that bell, and we'll see you in the next video, which will be tomorrow for me. Right, morning guys. So, welcome back again. It's a bit dark, isn't it? Anyway. So, I'll carry on with this stuff. Get these. Yeah, we'll get the trim screwed on the other side, and probably clamped. And yeah, we'll get those holes drilled in the body for the doors stuff. And then we'll carry on from there and see what I want to do next after that, apart from flicking a little bit of etch on those last two pieces. And then I think I'll probably strip that other one, the piece for the cow. I'll pull that off and we'll get that fully stripped. See how we get on there. I'm just trying to think, does that fit in the blasting cabinet? It may have, I'm not sure. So that I'll just DA it off or something like that. We'll see what happens. But we'll get the holes in the doors. Well, anyway, so I'm just wondering, should we go like this with these little collars, or like this, because I think they would be like that, but some of the ones on the actual dash fascia itself have those little collars. See a bit closer. Have those little collars, like the ones actually in the dash fascia here itself. on lots of these ones, like the 2 or 3 that are in here, and the ones that are on here have them. I think. And I think the ones up underneath there might have too. So yeah, like I don't know whether to carry. I'm assuming that these probably didn't have them. I might look at some photos, but it doesn't matter either way, to be honest. But just wonder if we should put them on. You know, just for a little bit of something extra. You know, we can either just put the flush screws in like that, or have them like that, if you know what I mean. I don't know. I don't know. But one way or the other. Let me know what you think, because by the time you see this video, like I'm not going to be at that stage of putting them on there anyway. So, but we'll carry on now, and we'll get that other dash trim cleaned up. Right, so I've knocked that back with the Rolex. I've still got to do a little bit of final clean up on it. I'm trying to do the inside as well, just try and clean up the best I can. It's a bit awkward trying to get in there. It will kind of fit in the blasting cabinet, but it's jammed in from one corner to the other, and it makes it very awkward to get into any of this. I might have a go and just see if I can get it in a position where I can just have a bit of a blast in there, and just, even if it just scuffs it up, if you know what I mean. So at least when I flick some etch and whatever in there, it's got a bit of a surface to stick to. Not that it really matters, probably quite right in there, but the rest of it should be fine. I'll give it a bit of a sand and whatever. But that, at least now, that's, you know, by the time I smash a few coats of high build on there and sand it back with, you know, 400, 600 or whatever, and then we can go from there with doing the wood grain. Yeah, that should be cool. And then a couple of coats of just satin clear over top, so it's not real shiny, but not dead flat either. So that's kind of where we'll be at there. And I'll make sure I'll try and get flat paint. Apparently that's better to work with than the gloss. Apparently the gloss, the wood grain doesn't, well, it does, but it's not so easy to work with, whereas it sort of holds on the flat paint easier than it does on the gloss, if you know what I mean, because it's shiny, whereas the flat's got a little bit more of a texture to it. But anyway, I'll carry on and get this a bit more cleaned up. Righty, so I got that etched, and I think I should have wiped it down with some freaking prep white. I haven't done that with the last couple of pieces. It hasn't freaking worried it, but this must have had a bit of freaking oil or something on the paint before I knocked it off. You can see it's trying to fish eye, so I'll give that a scuff back later and give it a wipe back and just give it another coat. It won't matter too much, not at this point. But yeah, it's my bad for just being a bit lazy and not wiping it down. I was like, oh yeah, it's clean enough now since I've freaking Rolexed it down and whatever else like that. But yeah, it must have been just a little bit of grease on there. Plus it's a bit cooler today too. So yeah, but not that that really matters, but it might have just been a bit, I don't know, but yes, fish eyed a little bit. That's all good. But anyway, I'll let that dry off and then I'll sort that problem. That's no biggie. But I actually need another. That sounds a bit empty, so I'll grab another can of that while I'm away. Got to shoot away again shortly to some stuff that I can't talk about at the moment, but very exciting. A three-way thing that Iron Horse and Outlaw Ridge, Minnesota Outlaw Kustoms, and we are trying to organise to do together, apart from that yellow truck that Arco had. That's going over to Iron Horse to build. We've got some other stuff going on in the background too. Hopefully we can get it all sorted. like that. I managed to get it in there and do a little bit down through the back in that opening, but it's freaking awkward because it's jammed. Like it's halfway up that freaking thing and then jammed into the corner. It's just not ideal. Typical, every time you get a freaking tool, it could be that much longer, and then you get something else in it and it could be that much longer. Yeah. Actually, Brent, was it Brent from Halfass? Was it him? Or somebody else had one, like, and it must be an old school one. And the windows here, I reckon that would be freaking handy. So just, you know, a bit taller and, like, so you're actually looking through the window, but, you know, it's a bit more, got a bit more volume in it without being, not necessarily so much longer, but just taller, so you could actually put a longer piece in there, you know what I mean? Be handy, but, well, you know, it is what it is. We, you know, you deal with what you got, and at some other point you upgrade, you know, when things become available or the finances become available and you can afford to do it, but that works for most things. You know, it's like a compressor, you know, it'd be nice to have a bigger one, and it'd be nice to have a better one of those and a better one of those and whatever, but, you know, it'd be nice to have a big mill, but, you know, I don't have $20,000 to, or, you know, or even $5,000 or $10,000 to get something really big, but, you know, for the little bits and pieces that we need to do, you know, as I work it out, just come in bloody handy, you know. But anyway, what's time? I have to check and see what time it is and just see what I'm going to do next. But yeah, because I only just found out that we were doing another, I'll just say video conference with some people, and yeah, it's going to be in about an hour, so I've got to go away and do that, and then hopefully I'll get back here again. We'll see what happens there. But otherwise I might be working all weekend. Just try and make up some hours. But yeah, that's all cool. That's life. Just do what you got to do to keep it all flowing. But anyway, I'll check to see what the time is and see what else I can get achieved in the next few minutes, or at least started. Right, so just on some more little jobs. So this had the old original hole, which was for the curtain sides. Because I've moved them in a little bit to clear other things, especially because of this door, I moved it a little bit. And there was also another hole in here where they must have, at some point, had two things and two frickin' holes in there for some reason. So I've just dowed them up and put some glue in there so they can't go anywhere, and also means that I can get a I think I was just missing for a screw in there too. I think I'd have to double check that, and I'm also trying to get all these pieces laid out because I'm contemplating mixing up some primer for these pieces and give them a quick flick on the inside, or on the back side, inside, whatever you want to call it, and then flick them over once they've flashed off enough to flick over, because basically I'm just going to put sort of a one heavy-ish coat on there, I suppose, without being too heavy, just to seal them up, and obviously so paint will stick to it and whatever, so we can give them a light sand, and obviously the paint that we put on them will stick. But so they're, and then we'll flip them over and we'll flick a few coats on. But I might move them over here so we're further away from the car. But that's kind of what I'm contemplating at the moment. So yeah, that's about where I'm at the moment. Righty, so I've poured a heap of primer on these things. Hopefully I can get them to sand out alright. There's actually one here I frickin' wish I had actually run out with the Rolex a bit better. But it's alright, we'll clean it up. If we have to touch it up, we have to touch it up. But I've got a crap load of primer on these. Hopefully I can get them to sand out pretty nicely. I'm more worried about these here than that, because that's going to be down low and it's not going to be quite so obvious. And I'll probably paint them in semi-gloss maybe, so they won't be quite so obvious that it's not perfect because I've made it by hand. But yeah, I think these will come out alright once I've had a bit of a sand back. If I have to give them another coat over top or something like that before I do the wood grain. And pour a heap on these as well. So hopefully these come out alright when I give them a sand back. I'll leave them for a couple of days just because there's probably freaking 7 or 8 sort of coats on there, I guess. So I'll just keep pouring it on till I run out of paint in the gun. Because I sort of mixed up a little bit for a start off, and then I thought, shit, it's not going to be enough. So I mixed up a little bit more and threw it in the gun and just mixed the two together. Because the first one was a bit runny. So I made that, actually did the second one without any reducer and then pulled what was left in the gun back in it, which was, I don't know, like say, about that much, and it was quite runny. So I threw that and then mixed it up, and that was just enough to thin it so it sprayed out quite thick. But would spray quite nice, so yeah. So hopefully we don't have any problems, but I think we should be right. We should get a pretty reasonable result. This is a wee bit ripply, but if I paint it satin, it's not going to stick out much. So I couldn't imagine that would be high gloss, those two pieces. But yeah, everything else will be that wood grain effect out of this batch. So yeah, we'll just let them cure up over the next couple of days and we'll carry on with something else, I guess. So yeah, just going to pull that tape off now that I'm kind of finished screwing around here. I can put it back on if I need to. I'll pull that off and I think I'll get out of here because the fumes are a bit high in here. Come back in a second. So yeah, I'm about to bugger off. So anyway, I think this could be the end of this video. I'm not sure, but if it is, thanks for watching. Please like, share and subscribe. Hit that bell, all those sorts of things. Doesn't cost you anything. I know people that may be watching them on TVs is always a wee bit awkward, but if you happen to have your phone near you, just grab your phone and while you're watching on TV and go on and sub the channel, all those sorts of things. And also go out, check out Outlaw Reg on YouTube and Ironhead Garage. We are in the midst of doing some big things coming up. Can't say too much because we just don't know quite exactly, but there's like we're going to do some builds together, but we're working out details and all sorts of things. So there's going to be some big things happening and all sorts of stuff. So we're just working out details and talking to different people and whatever, trying to sort out some stuff. So there's going to be some really cool stuff coming up. So yeah, I won't say too much more, otherwise I'll give everything away. And I can't really just yet until we work out a few details. But there's some cool stuff happening. Like there's the build with the yellow truck that Arco's got over in Minnesota at the moment, which they're going to drag over to Iron Horse and build that there, and rebuild that truck because it's a bit of it looks pretty, but it's a bit of a basket case. It's been poorly built, unfortunately. But yeah, so we're going to go back through and rebuild it. If I can get there and help, I will. But if they get it built before I get there, well, that's still good. But yeah, so anyway, we'll catch you later on. And yeah, again, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Really trying to get to that 1,000, and then hopefully we can get the watch hours up as well. But Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next time. Cheers.